Noosh asked me, what is the one hobby or secondary activity that he would recommend somebody pick up? I'm going to assume that you're an entrepreneur, that you're trying to maximize your return on your life, and you're trying to be the most badass version of yourself possible. So, what is the number one hobby or secondary activity? He also laid some ground rules. He said you can't count the gym, reading and or writing. And I was like, well, that sucks. Like those would have been the three. But I'm gonna find I'm going to come at it from a side angle because he said no gym, but he didn't specifically say what kind of gym. And so the hobby that I recommend everybody, you guys and gals, I don't care how old you are, I don't care if you're your worldview, everybody should learn how to fight. You do this in a gym, so I guess I'm kind of disqualified here because Anush said I can't use the gym, but I think he meant it slightly differently. So I think everybody should learn how to fight. You should learn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You should learn Muay Thai. You should learn boxing. I don't care. It doesn't really matter what martial art you learn. Everybody should learn one. Everybody should have the capacity to protect themselves. That's number one. Number two, the confidence that you get having the knowledge that you can protect yourself is invaluable. You'll probably never use it, but having it in case you ever do is nice. But those aren't actually the reasons why I think everybody should learn how to fight. The reason is until you've learned how to fight, until you've been in a situation where somebody else is actively trying to hurt you, and you can do this in a controlled environment, right? Like when you go and train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you're doing it in a controlled environment with somebody else, but you guys have the collaborative goal of both trying to get the other person to quit, right? But you're doing it in a safe way. Now, even in that safe way, it's a very different experience that most people have never had where somebody else is actively trying to hurt you. And the way that you show up in that and the way that you try when your life is on the line, and your life isn't going to be on the line in the gym, but this is the closest simulation that we can get to it. You learn that your capacity to try hard is so much deeper than you realize. You will not know the full extent of your capacity until your life depends on it. Right? And I don't want to put you in a situation where you're going out there, you're putting your life on the line, but we want to get as close to that as possible. We want to simulate that so you can see just how much capacity you actually have, and you'll surprise yourself, and you'll take that knowledge of what it means to actually try hard, because you will never try harder than when somebody's trying to beat you up, when they're trying to submit you in jiu-jitsu. You will never try harder than in those moments where you're resisting that because you don't have an alternative. The alternative is that you get hurt. Now, again, you're not going to get hurt in these environments, but your brain doesn't know that as you're doing that. You're going into these environments and you're going to have this very deep physiological reaction, and your ability to engage with that, to not be overwhelmed by that, and to keep operating despite that is an invaluable skill that will serve you in all different areas of life. You will take the confidence that comes and says, I know how to try hard. I know that when my back's against the wall, I can fight. Not just in a physical arena, but a mental arena. Because most often that's what's required when you're doing jiu-jitsu or Muay Thai. It's the mental resilience of, oh, I just got punched and that hurts. I can't run away. I have to stand here and I have to endure. Can you think about how valuable that would be in the context of sitting down to write a book? Writing a book is really easy by comparison to somebody trying to strangle you. And so I think everybody should have that experience, and you should train through it, because I don't want you to operate in that spastic zone of self-preservation. When you go and you train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, everybody starts as a white belt, and people will come in and they will get their first good roll in, and they will turn into these spastic little machines because your back's against the wall. You don't have any skill to compensate. And so you compensate with frantic energy, right? Cool. That's fine. But the goal isn't to live in that zone. The goal is to take control and to exert your will over your biology, to remain poised and calm despite the potential danger. That is an invaluable skill. I cannot overstate. I've been doing martial arts in one form or another since I was a little kid. And so it's been such an integral part of my life for so long that I take it for granted. And yet I can see the glow that people have when a friend or somebody, they come into the gym and they train for the first time. the glow that they have afterwards when they realize this whole other dimension to themselves, the capacity for violence, the capacity to endure violence. And this is important because you have evolved over millions of years in a very violent environment. And modern society has largely alleviated the need for that violence, for you to protect yourself. And so there are just a lot of people going through life right now who have no conception of their capacity. And you don't want to discover that at the moment when you need it most, right? You want to train that. And I think as an entrepreneur, as a peak performer, somebody that's just trying to get the most out of their life and try to develop into this best version of themselves, I think you have to learn how to fight. So a little contrarian, maybe. I'm curious what you guys think. Do you guys train? What do you train? Why don't you train? And we'll see you guys in the next episode.